Because if I'm happy, everything works out. I don't have to worry about titles or anything. It comes to me. I become the flower and not the bee. I don't want to be chasing anything anymore. I've done that.
"83% of Americans identify as not very happy, which can hold you back and negatively affect your relationships and your business. On this podcast, we discuss the proven steps to happiness so you can restore balance and rekindle your joy."
Welcome to another episode of How to Be Happier for Entrepreneurs. Hope you are having a fantastic day. I sure am. Got myself a little pickleball and yoga in, as I try to do every morning. And now we are starting this wonderful podcast with our friend Ronny, and it's going to be on inner peace. Like, who in this world doesn't want to have inner peace? So, Ronny, welcome to the show.
Hi, happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, we always start right off with a hard-hitting question. And my question to you, Ronny, is why do you think that so many people in this world struggle with finding inner peace, especially in this like super fast-paced world that we live in?
Basically, I think that we forget that we were given this gift that was called free choice. It means that I've got to, as you know by now, I'm a good PR for God, universe, all that is. I believe there's something bigger than me. And I have to stand in between that and the ego mind. I have to be in the middle. If I'm not in the middle, I'm going to be sucked into the ego mind that's going to hijack my thoughts, hijack me, and everybody else who wants to come into my mind. And I won't even be here. I won't be alive. If I want to be alive, I have to, it's like going to the gym. I have to make sure that the muscle of the free choice is the one that's prominent. And I have to say, amid all the chaos, I'm the one that can choose at any given moment how I want to feel about me. And there's nobody else that can do that for me.
Yeah, I love it. Someone said years ago in somewhere along my journey that most suffering in this world is self-inflicted. And I had never thought it was like 48 or something, I think, when I read that. And I was just like, I had to read it a couple times, like, wow. And it's so true when we look around the world and all of the people struggling. It's self-inflicted. And so talk a little bit more of why is it self-inflicted based on this theory around free choice? What are we doing instead of making these conscious decisions?
Well, I have to go back to the beginning. And because I speak a spiritual talk, and the beginning was that we were all together as one, but we were joined through the heart and not through the mind. There was no mind in the Garden of Eden. In Hebrew, Eden, the opposite of that means no mind. So there wasn't a mind in Eden. We were just joined. And when God says to all of us, which we're souls at the time, he says, come on, let's make a man. We called it Adam, in our image. He said our image. He put himself in it. He wanted a partner that could manifest all of his dreams. And he wanted somebody who could shake it up for him. But then we got lost because he said, there's one thing I don't want you to know. And that is, don't eat from the tree of knowledge, because the moment you do that, you will be dead man walking. You won't be alive. You won't be through the heart. You'll be thinking all the time. That's what happened. We separated and we became survivors. And what happened along the way is that the ego mind got into the driver's seat. And it even got to the point that the ego mind hijacks the I. We start a sentence in the mind that says I, and we believe it's me, but it isn't. Okay, so we fall into that trap. And what I say is that the moment you hear the word I, just go back for a second and say, no, not listening to you. I want to go through the heart. At this very moment, and I'm living in a war zone, and there's so many people at heads with each other, and everybody's got an opinion about the area I live in. But at the end of the day, nobody knows. The only thing I do know is that there's only one of me. in this whole universe. There's only one of you. I mean, how genius is that? Two eyes, nose, mouth, and ears, and everyone is a universe. So within that universe, we were given a free choice, and we were told you can listen to the mind ego, but then you won't be here. Or you can choose to walk with me. Now, I have all the answers, except it's in discovery. You can't know the answers through here. The only way to get the answer is through surrendering your own will. So when you're surrendering the will of the ego mind, the answer appears. And what is the answer at the end of the day? Just like you started off, serenity. I want peace. I want serenity. I want to see clearly. And I can't see clear if I'm in the mind ego. So that's where I'm coming from. And I think that within the chaos, the more I get involved with myself and make the choice to be happy, even though there's chaos, I can now help elate my surroundings because I'm not in the space where you have to worry about me now. I'm in a space that I can help you get up. Okay. So it's a must. I have to do that. Otherwise, this whole world is declining and we see what's happening. You see it on the media. I made a mistake a long time ago at the beginning of the war when I was defending my country and people were spewing things into the internet and I thought, oh, what am I doing? I'm only enlarging the darkness. I'm only giving a bigger platform to that. What if I didn't respond and instead try to find a speck of light that had nothing to do with the problem? And make that light bigger and bigger and bigger until that overtook the darkness. So I don't have to deal with the darkness. I have to find the light. And there's this amazing poet called Rumi, who was a Sufi. And he said, if you're looking at the dark, look again. You might be the light because you can't see the dark if you're not the light looking at it. So I take that, and that's where I come from. But it has to be every day from the start. I have to wake up in the morning and make that choice. If I don't do it actively before I get out of bed, I'm going to have to try and find it downhill at the
I
end
love
of
it.
it.
So, Ronny, where do you live?
I live in Israel.
Wow, sure, lots going on there, like you said earlier. So let's go to the I. Let's talk a little bit about that. When you say stop, when you say I, what do you mean? So I am a idiot. I am a therapist. I am a doctor. Can you explain a little bit more? Go a little deeper into that.
Yes. So the I am is different from the I that the ego is hijacked because the I am can only exist in the here and now. I am. I can't be I am tomorrow or I am yesterday. The ego mind knows how to live yesterday and he thinks he knows about tomorrow based on what he thinks he knows yesterday, but he doesn't know the now. And he can't ever know the tomorrow either. But he will give us amazing terminology. He'll say, oh, statistically, and he'll say, from my experience, and you'll believe him because you think that if he had an experience, it must happen again. And that's, this is what Einstein said, that you keep doing the same thing again and again, and you expect a different result. So I say that in opposition to therapy, to psychology, I don't want to analyze. I don't want to know what happened when I was 4 years old. I don't even know that story was correct. I want to say goodbye to my yesterday, and I want to invite my tomorrow by being in the here and now. And in the here and now, I can fully feel, I can fully adjust to what is happening and not to what I think is happening. So I accept what's happening in order to move. I first accept what's happening and then I immediately get serenity. In acceptance, you immediately get serenity. You don't have the fight. And then I let go of the story that I think or believe. The trigger is the story. Say somebody comes up to you and he triggers you. That's the story. What happens is what happens within me as a result of that trigger. Now, he could move something in me, and if he does, it's my work. It means, Thank you for showing me that I've got something here that I need to take care of. But if nothing comes up here, it's nothing to do with me. It's to do with that trigger.
I love it. I love it. Did you hear that? Like, that's a drop the mic moment. When someone does something that pisses you off or irritates you, instead of getting mad, you should be saying thank you, because you just showed me that I have something to work on. Because whatever someone does, it has nothing to do with the actual thing that the person does. It's how you react to it. And it's how just like you said, Ronnie, it's your story. And that's why there's so much self-suffering, is because we want to say, just like I did for 47 years, well, my ex-wife did this and it really made me mad. No, it didn't make me mad. I chose to react based on my past and the way I felt about myself. So, Ronnie, how would you finish this sentence or statement?
Yeah.
I am happy.
Because if I'm happy, everything works out. I don't have to worry about titles or anything. It comes to me. I become the flower and not the bee. I don't want to be chasing anything anymore. I've done that. I've been there, done that, struggles. I even got a heart attack doing that. So knowing that, the only thing I know that has value for me is being here and now, serene and happy. And everything else works itself out, because that's the wavelength of God. That's the wavelength of the universe. You know, Jesus, who I love, by the way, he was very clever, because he sort of took the Old Testament and told you what lies underneath it. So in the Old Testament, when you say eye for an eye, it's revenge. But he says, no, it's mirror, mirror, eye for an eye. So if you're looking at something that annoys you, find out where it is in you. Where does it live within you? And the other one, the turn the other cheek. So somebody comes to you and he says, I want your shirt. Give him your coat as well. Now, what you've done is you've killed him with kindness, because now he has to waken up to himself and say, what sort of person am I? I was just about to rob him, and here he is giving me his coat as well. So it's the other way around. You don't go into the fight. You find a way to be above it, because otherwise it's ego against ego and it never ends.
I think one of the most powerful things Jesus ever said was, the truth shall set you free. So these stories that we're talking about, so the person, my ex-wife, triggers me and I get all mad, the story is always untrue, because you cannot suffer if you're living in the truth. And what's the truth? That you are enough, that you are connected to the great creator, whoever your creator is. So going back to separation, Ronnie, do you believe that I think you said separation happened, many millions of years ago or thousands of years ago, but do you believe that a child is separated when they're born?
We're all separated, but I think, and this is a very interesting thing that you raise here, look at a giraffe and look at a zebra. After half an hour of being born, even less, they're on their feet. The zebra is a zebra. We take 2 years to learn how to walk, and we stumble and we don't talk. And that's because babies hold all knowledge. And the moment that they start talking, they start their new role in this lifetime, and everything that they know of known becomes obliterated. Now they're starting to learn the lessons they've come to learn. They bring it with them. I can give you an example. When I was a little girl, I blamed my mother because she once shamed me in front of my friends. I was round. I was never heavy, but I'm a round person. And she sort of blamed herself and thought, oh, maybe I'm not feeding my child correctly or whatever. And when I was 7, we lived in Africa at the time. She invited 2 friends over and gave them steak and puree. And for me, she put 3 little biscuits on my plate, which I saw for the first time in my life. And these biscuits were supposed to have all nutrients in it, and a glass of milk. And she said, Ronnie, if you eat this for 3 weeks, you'll look like your friends.
Wow.
Now, for the rest of my life, I was up and down on diets and diet pills and God knows what, until I realized that she only chose that role in my life to show me the lesson I came in with. I came into this life to know that I brought that lesson. And the lesson was balance. How do I balance? I wasn't balanced in a previous life. And I came in to learn that. And so everybody in my life is there to support my lesson. And they're here to show me who I am. They're torches on me. But if I blame them, I won't learn my lesson.
Have you read Journey of Souls?
Yes, yes.
My life partner and business partner Yvonne has, and she rants and raves about it. She's like, "You got to read this." I'm going to read it. I've got like 100 books on my reading list, but it's amazing. Like we pick our stuff to heal, right? In this lifetime. So I'm going to give you my theory on separation. I think from separation from themselves. I think children are connected with themselves up until the point where their needs aren't met or there's some traumatic event. And then they have to separate in order to get through it. And then their subconscious mind, who doesn't know the difference between time, just keeps them in that state, in that separated state. So I don't know what you think about that, but that's and then when you reconnect with yourself, then it's easier to connect with the higher power.
Yeah. So spiritually, I believe that the biggest lesson we have to teach kids is how to connect through the heart and not through the cognitive. And I think that's our mistake because we send them to school. I mean, things that they can learn on the computer today, but nobody teaches them how to just love themselves. They teach them competition. He's better than you. You're better, you know. And I mean, we just had a kid in Israel commit suicide because he was he was ganged on with all the classmates who put him down all the time. So I think that's the fundamental thing that we have to go through. And if we talk about separation, I can't take away from spirituality reincarnate. When I speak spirituality, it has to include past lives. And when we use the word react, it's a reaction. It's something that is from my past. As we said, nothing to do with the trigger. The trigger only showed up to show me who we are. The people around me, all the souls around me today are souls that I reincarnated with, and I do my amends with them. I don't know, you might have heard of Ho'oponopono. It's a Hawaiian. So you know that every nation sort of has their wise men. We've got Kabbalah. They've got Ho'oponopono, the Hawaiians. The Mexicans have Toltec. Miguel Ruiz is one of the people who brought that about, right? So at the end of the day, we're all saying the same thing. Ho'oponopono says, I don't have to know exactly what I did wrong in the past, but if I'm in pain, then that pain is a pain that I inflicted on somebody else at some point. And I want to say to the universe, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And somewhere in the universe, that will be dispersed and it'll be taken away. That energy will be taken away. In the system that I teach, we go a little deeper. We literally take the traits of the people in front of us. We take the good traits, we take the negative traits, and we try to find out where they sit within me. So if I'm saying about somebody, oh, he's a thief, I've got to find in me, where do I steal? Do I steal people's attention? It doesn't have to be money or something like that. When I find that, I have to relinquish my need to ever use that trait again. Now I free the other person from being the thief in my mind, because I've conjured up a picture of him in my mind. I release him from that. He can either leave my life or he cannot be the same person around me anymore because I don't have that need anymore. I made amends. And then we go up to the person and we say, I'm sorry for the way I have perceived you. And I release you from my perception. And then that sort of disintegrates. And we find a brand new person there.
Wow. In the Way to Love book by Anthony DeMello, I don't know if you ever read that, but it is fascinating. He talks about that's what love really is. It's caring for someone, it's connecting with someone and not bringing in the past stories of that person and all your past perceptions. So you must be like a fortune teller because you literally answered the next question I had. So we're going to go a little deeper into this. The question was, explain how judgments are often reflections of our unprocessed internal wounds. So when we look at the person and say, you're a thief, tell us about those unprocessed internal wounds.
I'm always projecting my perception on somebody of something I don't want to deal with within myself. So whatever my son for the first time in years asked me, because a client called while we were having a conversation. She was in this emergency. So he says to me, how exactly do you help her? And I said, well, she's having a problem with her mother. So if she doesn't see herself in her mother, she's not going to be able to solve it because she's going to keep saying that's her, it's her. But that can't appear in my life if it's not a mirror of me. And in the good traits, by the way, we have to delve even deeper. Because if I say I'm in awe of somebody who's very generous, I have to fine tune and ask myself, how generous am I? Am I generous, but I'm picky and saying, oh, but I gave that person a lot of money and he hasn't returned it to me? Or am I just generous because the actual wavelength of generosity is a very good feeling for me? It's freedom. I don't have to want anything back. I want to be generous. I want to be giving. And in this lifetime, our Kabbalah says that the next step, and we're watching the end of days because everything's got to a peak right now. It's called Babylon. Babylon in Hebrew means bilbul. It means confusion, where the truth looks like the lie and the lie looks like the truth. And we don't really know who's telling the right narrative. Okay. So I have to look deep inside and I have to say, hang on a second. If I'm wanting, I'm in the ego. And the Kabbalah says that when we get to a level where I'm able to be giving rather than wanting for myself, we've just bonded. And then this vessel becomes so big to receive light. But if I'm giving, but wanting something in return, it's as if I haven't given at all. So when we're looking at the good traits, we also have to find ourselves there. We have to see, am I really that? Or, or for example, if somebody says that somebody's got a good sense of humor and I love it about him, and you find out that you have a sense of humor, but you use it in order to bring people to you, if there's an ulterior motive there, then it's not. If it's not just something that you're giving freely, but you want something, even if it's attention, then it's not.
Yeah. I love it. So I want to speak about your health scare, but first I want to share a message with the audience. And that is, if you are wondering if you have some of these stories that are affecting your relationships, your financial abundance, your health, do yourself a favor and just go to unlocklimitlessyou.com/quiz. And it only takes 3 minutes. It's 12 questions. It's a self-love quiz. It will tell you your level of self-love, AKA self-esteem. And the answers may set you on a journey that will forever change your life in ways that you can't imagine. So go take that quiz, unlocklimitlessyou.com/quiz.
Sounds amazing.
Thank you. So, Ronny, you had a life altering health scare. How did that incident change your perspective on stress and life?
So I've always considered myself as somebody who's serene and knows how to do it because I've been mentoring for a long time, but sometimes you dish out things you've got to learn yourself. And there was a moment, usually when my main thing is that people come to me and I put them through a process one-on-one. And occasionally I'll be invited to give a workshop, but usually that's being taken care of. I arrive with my bag and the people are already there. So there's somebody inviting me. And until about 4 years ago, I used to travel. I used to go to France. There was this lovely lady who had this amazing venue, and she would say, can you make it on these dates? I've got people waiting for you. And the same in London, blah, blah, blah. And that was easy because I didn't have to promote or do anything. And for some reason, I got it into my head. Now, this thing happened to me. The heart attack happened to me 4 months ago. So prior to that, about 3 months before that, I got it into my head, and I realized now it was my ego, that I had to format a workshop. And I took a PR person and I took somebody who dealt in sales. I spent a lot of money to try and get in the algorithms on Facebook. And I was in it all day long. and nobody enrolled. And my ego was going on the floor more and more and more and more. And how can that be? I'm quite infamous here in regards of what I do. And I'm thinking, and I'm looking and I'm seeing other mentors filling up their workshops. It's not happening to me. And and the more I understand that, the more I'm on the go. Totally stressed. Now I'm looking at myself. I can see this stressed woman, but I don't know how to stop. And then there's a moment that I'm not feeling too well. I'm lying down in bed, and a friend of mine who lives about 20 minutes ride away from me by the beach says, come round for a coffee. We'll sit on the beach. And I said to her, I'm really not feeling that well. And she says, oh, come on, change of scenery. I don't answer her because I don't know what's happening. I'm not feeling well. And I suddenly feel like I'm being pulled up, pushed into the shower, dressed, go into the car and drive to her. In my mindset, I'm in bed. I don't understand how this happened. And I reach her, and I have to get into this lift, you say elevator, right? And I get out of the elevator. My legs are like jelly. I'm praying that I get to her door on time. And she's got this chair outside her door. I sit on the chair. I knock on the door. She opens. She says, who's there? Because I didn't answer her. She didn't even know I was coming. And it's already started. I feel like an elephant is sitting on my chest.
Wow.
My arms are painful. My jaw, I can't breathe. Don't know what this is. I said to her, listen, darling, I don't know what this is. And she barely drags me. We phone a friend. She says, oh, don't phone me. Call an ambulance. 2 ambulances come. As soon as the ambulance people come up, they stick a pill in my tongue. I don't even know what's happening to me. They take me down into the ambulance. I'm talking to God by now. I really don't care. They stick a morphine in me to sort of stop the pain. The guy says to me, we're going to be at the hospital very soon. The professor's already waiting in the theater for you. And what are you talking about, theater? What? I get there and they're running just like you see in these films. All I see is these lights above me. And we get there and they give me this thing that I have to sign. If you knew me, I don't sign anything without reading it. And I'm signing. I get in there and and they're doing this procedure and stick a stent in me. And the doctor says, 2 more minutes, you wouldn't have been here. But I know that our coming in and our leaving this earth is already preordained. So God wanted me back. And we have a prayer in Hebrew that says, thank you for returning my soul. But in Hebrew, there's another letter that's added to that, because God doesn't just want souls in this moving around. He wants you because he still needs you around. So when we say, thank you for returning me, he's returned you because you've still got something to do here.
Yeah.
And in those 4 months, I had to relearn. But this time I learned on a level that was totally different from what I thought I knew. And I became so grateful. And I thought I would be so angry. I thought I'd be cursing him. But something else happened. And I found out that there is freedom in discipline. I was not a disciplined person when it came to food or anything like that. And suddenly I find myself saying, the most precious thing I have today is to be disciplined so that I am free to do what really is important and not bother about thinking what food I'm going to eat. or on that level, there's a hell of a lot more. So I woke up. I literally woke up to the understanding that I'm alive. And I don't want to know about tomorrow. I don't want to know about yesterday. I completely feel alive. And I don't remember that feeling, even though I was preaching it. I don't remember it like that.
Wow. Someone once said that's heaven on earth. If we can just be present right here, right now, that's heaven on earth, right? Incredible story. So can you tell folks who are listening, what can they do today, starting right now as they're listening to this, to be more present in the moment?
What I would like to say is don't waste your energy on things that have nothing to do with the now. What I've understood fundamentally, that the spirit and God is forever. Everything else is temporary. Everything else comes and goes. If I look at my country, the North and the South have been destroyed. People have lost their houses. And it's not just their houses. Think of your albums, of your pictures, of your kids. All gone. All gone. They left with the shirt on their back. So, but what was left? The spirit and God. And that's forever. It can't ever leave. So we might find another body later on, or we might find something else, but we are always here. And that is what's present. The soul is always present. It can't be in any other place. It doesn't have another dimension. It's always here. So I also understood that dimension is a perception. I had a cat and a dog. The dog was with me for 20 years and the cat for 19. But it was the cat I was looking at because he was like a Buddha. And I thought, isn't that funny? Now, I know that this is a pen. It's got a name. I know what to do with it. The cat doesn't know. He sees this and he just has fun rolling it along. That's its pleasure. He doesn't have the comprehension I have. And I don't have the one he has. So we see each other, but we're not in the same dimension because our experience is the dimension. So everything is here and you can't get out of you. So what I would like to say to people is accept that you're a universe, that you've been given the gift of your own experience of you, and just be in acceptance of that and enjoy the ride. Just enjoy the ride. Now, I can tell you that when I became, because I come from the music industry and I was CEO of EMI Music Publishing in Israel. And I remember that the first day I sat on my chair, I looked around and we were this beautiful offices, this penthouse. And I said, now this is interesting. I'm the one sitting on the chair. There's nobody else sitting on the chair. It's me. What if that was already written? I could have enjoyed the ride.
I love it. Disregard anything that doesn't have to do with the present moment. I'm just thinking as you said that, how powerful that is. I was playing pickleball this morning, and as I'm leaving the gym, a guy says to me, "Hey, this other guy disrespected me. Like he asked me for these balls, and I told him no, but he basically took them anyway." And I just put that into practice, what you said, and that was like 10 minutes prior. And this guy was still talking about being disrespected. Like it doesn't matter anymore. Like what's happening right now. So as we close, share with us if someone wants to reach out to you, find out more about you, work with you. How can they do that? What's the best way to reach you?
Well, there's several platforms today. You can reach me on Facebook. Just put my name in there. Or I have a website, which is www.beanditwillbe.com, because that's the name of the system. Be and it will be, whatever you're being. Or YouTube. I mean, I'm everywhere. I'm on Instagram. I put up TikToks. I don't stay to watch others though. So I do put up. So just my name. You can Google my name, and I could also leave a phone number. So yeah, the great thing about Zoom is that I mean I've got clients in Florida. I've got clients in Australia. The hours are a little difficult in Australian, you know.
So beanditwillbe.com.
Yeah, yeah. And it's a journey. It's a journey to ourselves. And the program is 12 lessons where there's a moment that the penny drops And I know that moment, I see it. There's an aha moment that you say, oh, I got it.
If you're suffering or struggling, I promise you, life wasn't meant to be that way. And there's a better way to do it. Ronny and myself have gone through this, and we used to live a certain way, and now we live a different way. And this way is way, way, way better. Life is so amazing when we get rid of those stories, those untrue stories that are buried oftentimes in our subconscious mind. We don't even know them. So, Ronny, that was absolutely amazing. I adore and love your energy. I'm going to have to get you back on the show because I've got so many more questions for you.
I'm so grateful for this. And I don't know if you noticed, the smile just hasn't left my face since we started. I love talking about this stuff. It just elates me even further. So thank you.
You're welcome so much. And that concludes another episode of How to Be Happier for Entrepreneurs. Remember, I'm on a mission to help 1 million people radically change their lives by getting rid of these hidden limiting beliefs. And I can't do that alone, so I need your help. So if you like this show, please rate it, review it, share it. Anything you can do to get the word out would be greatly appreciated. And until next time, love heals all.
Hit subscribe if you don't want to miss out on more life-changing content. And if you're struggling, you don't have to. Go to bradchandler.com/contact. There, you can join the Facebook community of like-minded entrepreneurs, and you'll see a button to schedule your freedom and happiness call. See you on the next episode.